Sorry. So we're talking about the ascendant and the sun conjunction, in conjunction with Castor, Pollux, and Sirius, the dog stars, and the magic wisdom and ancient knowledge that goes along with these things. Transits are set for today.
What
Something.
does that mean?
Oh, I'm just saying this for the record because
Okay.
I forgot to push record right when we started, so I'm recording it now. But the transits are the green planets on the outside, and that is where the planets are currently and how they're influencing you currently. And so
Okay.
transits is how people write horoscopes, basically. In your chart, I'm just really interested in down here at the bottom. If you can see, you have a lot of activity in the second house, which is the house of Taurus. So Taurus people for you are very magical, and let me count how many things you have here. This is a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You have 9 items. Now, in order to be considered a powerful influence, what we would call a stellium would have to just be 4. So you actually have double, which means that you're very much what we call a second house person, or someone who's very influenced by Venus and people who are ruled by Venus. So Taurus people, Libra people are very powerful in your life. Having also with your beautiful sun and ascendant conjunction as well is in a really good aspect to Ceres too. So pretty much like you just have this goddess mother energy, like very ancient, like earth, nurturing, creative, and the creator also that goes along with having the power to destroy as well. But so much creative energy here. Like, gosh, it's like I almost don't know where to start with it. Having Mercury and your moon are conjunct, so you have almost a magical intuition. Do you have like premonitions where you know things will happen years ahead of time?
No, but I have been having almost like premonition dreams or dreams where for the past year, almost 2 years, I've been having dreams and then I find myself in the situations that I dream about.
Yeah, okay, that's exactly on the same lines. It would be visual for sure.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, visualizing things. And then I find a lot of people, it's almost like they're in like a state of peace. It's like very peaceful. You know that it's coming. And then when you get there, you remember. And I like that kind of synchronicity, kind of deja vu. But that will, I'm seeing that like your problem that you've been having for it looks like about 2.5 years has been Saturn, like I mentioned in the email. Um,
Hmm.
Currently, it's in retrograde, and let me look up real quick, and I can tell you when it's gonna. When things are gonna definitely feel a lot more relieved. Saturn is very I don't want to use the word oppressive. I don't think that's the right word, but can cause us to feel oppressed. But
Hmm.
Saturn itself as a planetary influence is very much like you have to wait. Anything that you want really badly, Saturn will make you wait for. So he's the archetype of like God in the sky, kind of withholding and blessing us as we please him, kind of.
Hmm.
And so, which can be a huge pain, but let's see, second degree of Cap. Uh-oh. So it's looking like, oh great, he goes retrograde again. It's going to be an exact for you February, probably February 2018 is when it'll be completely done, but it will start getting easier later this summer whenever he comes out of retrograde. So let me give you a date for that.
Hmm.
So it looks like August 9th is the day that there will be a big shift. You will feel a relief. You will feel that things are going to be easier. Definitely financially, things are going to flow better if that's been a problem or concern. And also,
Hmm.
if you've wanted to travel perhaps and have been feeling like you're unable to do so, then you'll be able to travel more freely at that time.
Okay.
Now he does go back retrograde, so I would say my advice for this would be to plan on traveling if you're wanting to see yourself somewhere else. I would make plans to get there sometime between August and well, hold on, this is next year, August this year and basically August next year. So you'll have a good 1 year window where things are
Okay.
a lot easier, and as things progress, it will just get better by February 2018. All of this will be resolved, and so anything you've been working towards for the last couple of years will definitely be coming into fruition in the beginning of 2018, and you'll definitely start reaping any benefits or any investments that you've done energetically or with your if you do any kind of like manifestation work. All of those things will start kind of slowly trickling back in at the end of um, like next year, especially. But you'll start noticing little waves of it and coming in August. So what is happening with you though is a Saturn return. If you'll think back to your first Saturn return, for people, it happens between 28 and 30 years old. So if anything
Hmm.
was going on in your life then, a lot of the same themes will repeat. And so I always say,
So should I go back and try to reflect on what was happening in my life and when I was in that age, or should I
absolutely.
just let that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So any feelings you had then or concerns, or if you were, for you, you have like such it has an energy of healing and knowledge. So if you were studying, maybe, um,
Hmm.
writing, especially if you were writing what some might consider like more of a textbook, knowledge based book rather than maybe like a fiction novel or something. Um, but definitely, the topics of herbal medicine are a huge theme, digestive health, the health of the body in general, but then, the energetic body extends to that as well. Um, but definitely themes of health and wellness are very dominant here. And so if you've been, I would say this kind of placement would be if you've had this interest, maybe now is the time to share that knowledge with other people or to go back in and to learn more about things like that and to really master what you're interested in. And then again, like reflecting on where you were 28 to 31 or 32 years old, what you were doing, what you're studying, and kind of the influences in your life then. So our first Saturn return is when we kind of become an adult. And then our second Saturn return is when we really become a master of being an adult. So anything you've been working for in your life, especially work wise, like career wise, or if you're helping other people, Saturn in your chart is in the house of service. So
Hmm.
healing work, serving other people, healing other people, especially with your Cancer rising and your sun is, Cancer is a very intuitive healer. So all of these things are definitely dominant in theme for you for the next couple of years and have been, I'm sure, for the last couple of years.
So in terms of the healing work, it has to be body centered or
No, not
not.
necessarily. I mean, we know that as healers, the physical symptoms are really just manifestations of energy issues or energy blocks. And so, we can address those symptoms with herbs and things, but energy healing is also a very dominant theme in your chart as well. Um, in order to heal past life wounds that you chose to work on in this life, it's very important for you that you work with, I would say, it's almost like the people's medicine is kind of what's coming up. You have like this connection to this vast network of people, and and having the knowledge of medicine, if you will, for lack of a better word, the medicine of the dis-ease when people are imbalanced, is also very prominent here. So yes, like using the physical body and helping the physical body, but the focus of course is on the spirit, on the soul, on healing like our karmic pain and our energy, because people's energy bodies remember all kinds of things. and then they'll have issues that manifest because of that. So, and then sometimes things like this will bring health issues for ourselves. So Saturn rules the skeletal system. So if you've had any kind of bone issues or joint issues, that could definitely be temporary. Whenever your Saturn return is over, like your health might bounce back if you start feeling kind of a lull, or like if you feel like your vitality is not as good as it used to be, or it's not as good as you feel it should be. Then it's just basically you're just kind of regenerating so that you can come back in a more powerful way almost. And lots of Leo. What kind of creative stuff are you interested in? Do you perform or paint or draw or sing or write or anything like that?
I write and mostly poetry, trying to have done some short fictions, but mostly poetry.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely very creative, very finding beauty and communicating it, I would say, as a big theme here. And then I would say you're a very no nonsense person, huh?
Some people tell me that. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm as clear. And then other people tell me that I'm evasive. So really, I don't know.
Well, maybe what they mean is that they're used to people who are all about nonsense, and so you're evading them because they're nonsense. Yeah, I say that you have your down here at the very bottom of your chart on the IC. This is what we would describe as like the root chakra part of our natal chart. So very old, deep energy, like Kundalini. We bring it up, like the snake. For you, your north node is quite conjunct your IC. And so the north node is actually our future lives. A lot of people want to talk about past lives a lot of times. And our future self obviously is, we're counting on ourselves to do the best job we can. So for you, your future self is actually conjunct as part of yourself. So Kundalini meditations are very deep, almost trance-like states of meditation. I would say you'll find so much like sacred knowledge that you can help heal other people with as well when you do things like that. And then what's very cool about this is the north node, again, it's at the bottom, but it always opposes the south node, which is our past life. So it's kind of this line that denotes where we've come from and where we're going. And yours is conjunct your midhaven and your IC. And the midhaven represents this MC line at the top. That is our crown chakra and our highest self. So when we say like our higher self guides us or speaks to us, you've got that going on big time. Like for you, your higher self is like almost in a way, it's like a metaphysically, it's tapped into who you have been for a long time. And you know that very well. And so you bring that to the table. And so that might be also why people say that you're evasive, because you're very comfortable, with who you are and the work that you do and the knowledge that you have. But this is cool. I don't actually see this placement very often. A lot of times it'll be on this other line here. I'll see it. That's pretty common. But I usually do not see it where you have it. That's very uncommon. So that's very special. It means that you definitely have a gift for being able to tap into the knowledge that you've had for many incarnations, whereas most people have a hard time with that. You definitely are able to do that maybe more easily than you even think sometimes. And then other people will pick up on that energy. They won't know what it is, but they'll feel it. But definitely no nonsense. And that's just because you've been around a long time and you know who you are and what you're doing and where you're going. And with so much stuff in the second house, it's so funny because it's very slow and steady wins the race almost. And then also very like, you're just like very structural and very patient. And so, you have all of this patience and all of this creativity and you know who you are very well. And so it can be very frustrating if you want to get something done and you're unable to. So Saturn return can make that hard. So just kind of going back into yourself, like what I was saying, like a meditation and reading or writing, or if you're doing healing work for other people, that's all good things for the next couple of years. And then staying put where you are, and then if you want to travel, trying to get it done between August of this year and next year, and then staying put again for about another year after that. And I just keep seeing a lot of green, like forests and like this beautiful, like almost white kind of light that comes through the trees in the morning is definitely coming through. Like that's definitely like the place for you.
Okay. So I just need to find that place.
Well, are you in Boone with Keisha right now? Are you up in that area too?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And mm, I'm happy to be here and I'm glad to be here, but don't know that um, I don't know that I want to spend the winter here.
No, I don't think so. I think you should be gone by September, I would say. Or
Yeah.
October. Yeah. Yeah. And the winters there suck. I lived in that part of the country for a while. It gets cold and it snows. It's no fun.
Yeah.
Let's look at your map real quick and then we can see what's a good place for you to be. Because I definitely think by September, especially October, it would be most beneficial for you to go somewhere maybe similar energetically, but not be there.
hmm
Are you interested in international travel, or are you more interested in keeping it in like the Americas?
Um, International, I actually would like to go visit my aunt in Jamaica.
Okay.
Um, so that's one of the things that is on my mind for this year at some point.
Well, I would definitely, whenever I was looking at this, I kept thinking about visiting family. So that would be really good. Let's see. And then your fourth house. Yeah, I would say that's definitely very good. Before Scorpio season starts, I would try to have your travel either in line or basically happening. So that'll be October, like roughly around like October 20th, 21st or so. So
So have it ready to go, or that's when I should be traveling.
either or, I mean, having like the energy in place, doing it before Scorpio season starts is ideal. But if you hit delays of any kinds, I wouldn't stress about it too much. Yeah, okay, cool. This is great. So you have going through Kingston almost exactly your north node on the IC. Okay, this is cool. I kind of felt like I was going to find this. Okay, so when I was saying that you have this interesting and very uncommon placement of the north and south node on your like Midhaven and IC line, the line that
hmm
goes through Kingston is actually this line right here at the bottom that I was talking about first, where it's very like no nonsense.
hmm
And that's the line actually that's going through Kingston. It was interesting. You kind of think that people's charts, the lines that go through certain places, if you're born there, you would kind of expect that maybe it will go through that area, but it's actually not the case. So and then you also have like your sun ascendant line just outside of Jamaica too. So that's great. I think going home would be ideal and be very restorative and rejuvenative for your very basal like root energy that you can tap into over the course of the next years following. Do you go home
Okay.
somewhat infrequently, like every couple of years?
Very infrequently. Sometimes I feel like I would like to do more.
Mhm.
Um, Financially, it's been a struggle for the past couple of years to even try. But yeah, I'm feeling the need to be there or to go there for myself, but also because my aunt right now is the oldest living relative um, on my mother's side.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, it's very important. You have such a tie to like matriarchal, like female creative power. So seeing female relatives, I would say, is very important for you. Um, and I mean, obviously, that's a good thing that everyone needs to do, but for you, it's especially important for your vitality and your energy and work that you're interested in. Um, and so getting there would be ideal. And then that line is the same line is actually kind of close to where you are right now. I mean, it's not super close, but it's close enough to be an influence. And then
Yeah.
we can look at the whole world. Why not? Is there a certain place that you've just always been drawn to, or?
I've been drawn to, I'm interested in going to Paris, to France,
Mhm.
because I love the language and I've been trying to study it on and off for many years.
Awesome. We don't have anything actually going through there, which tells
Okay.
me that a lot of times I ask that because when I open the world map, and for my own sake and helping with saying the right thing for you is a lot of times if we don't have a line going through somewhere now, that means that in the future maybe there will be like a very powerful influence. So again, for you with this very interesting um, placement that I keep going back to with your north and south node, knowing where you're going in the future, intuitively following that, like I would not be surprised if like you're come back as a French person in your next life and you're just going ahead and being fascinated and acclimated with that culture because that's what you've chosen for the next time around. And so I do see that a lot when people don't have a line directly tied to a place, or maybe their last lives aren't necessarily in line with that. It could be future lives. And so that's cool.
Okay.
And then you have a lot of
Uh,
stuff for like the like California, like South California too.
where's that? Southern California.
Yeah, like San
Mm,
Diego, Los Angeles area. You have a good bit of energy going through there. Uh, Definitely healing energy. So maybe you'll go there one day and just like teach some people some things that could be conducive for this particular placement.
okay.
You have a Hawaii line as well. Um, let's see. The future self will benefit from a trip to Hawaii. The western side of the island, I don't really know what's over there, but the Honolulu, the line actually goes right through Honolulu, so I'd say Honolulu would be a good target. Um, I would definitely avoid the Midwest. That's not a good spot for you.
Midwest United States or Midwest
Midwest,
world?
yeah, Midwest United States. I would avoid like all of that. That might be very draining. That would be a very draining place for you to be.
Okay.
Let's see. You've got a lot of stuff going through Australia. Good Lord. No doubt.
Oh, I'd love to go there.
God, you have like look at all of these lines going through over Australia. It looks like let's just kind of knock them out in order. So like radical spiritual expansion, um, healing of any traumas that you've encountered that have afflicted maybe your personality or your vitality or who you are over the course of your life. Um, you have the Venus descending, so being able to take in beauty and then regenerate it and use that. Neptune midhaven, very you would find a sense of restored optimism and idealism. It would be amazing for your poetry writing. Would be very, and it would be an inspirational place for sure. This red line is not so hot. It's a Mars descending line. That's really the only one I'm seeing that could be very draining. So so this red line, I would say, where this little target is though here, I don't know what city this is. Hold on. I'm going to spell Australia wrong. Awesome. Oh, the Great Barrier Reef. Look at you.
Going to Great Barrier Reef. Yes, we don't
Yes,
want to drown.
yes, absolutely. The city of Cairns, Cairns. I probably said that wrong,
No,
but
you probably.
that is a major spot for you. The Great Barrier Reef is huge. Look at that. Oh, now I see where it was blocked off. So you might get there and you might have either trouble getting there or you might feel very drained trying to get there, or when you get there, you'd be tired. Obviously, jet lagged, so maybe that's part of that. But
Hmm.
um, but it would be a very radical place for you spiritually. Like I could definitely see you going there and staying there for at least a few months. And if you pay for that airfare, obviously you would want to. So,
Hmm.
um, And then the rest of these lines going through are mostly in like Alice Springs and central and northern Australia, which is also very beautiful. And then those are all huge past life lines. You'll have a lot of like past life memories. I'm not going to say that maybe you were Australian in a past life, but I would not rule it out of the realm of possibilities. So if you've always wanted to go there, if you felt a connection there, it's because you remember being there and you want to go back so that you can access more of those memories.
Okay. Well, I've enjoyed the literature from there, so I
Awesome.
love the women writers I've encountered from there.
That's awesome. And then you have, it looks like kind of like right here, like South Vietnam and like um this whole kind of region is also very influential for you as well. Let's look up some little. So the line is going right through Phuket, it looks like. So going to Phuket is absolutely beautiful. There's beaches and all kinds of amazing forests, and you've got your Saturn ascendant. So when your Saturn return is over in 2018, I would maybe consider a trip to Asia.
Okay.
If you've ever been, have you had any interest in going to Vietnam or Thailand or any of these places?
Um, I've been interested in learning about East Asian literature and history and stuff like that. So
Okay.
I've been doing that, but I haven't specifically said Malaysia. Yeah.
Well, hey, I mean,
And Vietnam.
it looks like Kuala Lumpur is. I'm trying to find. Hold on, let me get rid of some of these tabs. I'm trying to find this little. These little. Can you see this little black circle here? Like every line will have a circle on, and we call that like the kind of where the maximum energy convergence of that line happens. And
Okay.
a lot of times these little, I call them targets. A lot of times these little targets are over oceans, so it's like we can't really
Mhm.
just go and sit on a boat in that spot in the ocean, you know. And so when you get them over cities, it's like, oh, that's cool. And so yours is actually, it looks like just south of Kuala Lumpur. Hold on. So whatever this is, Malacca. So this is where it is. I'm not going to pretend to know anything about that, but
Okay, I'll just look it up and
what a
become familiar with.
what a pretty place.
Yeah. Over water, it's good.
Yeah, exactly. There's water, so you're good. And really, with the Cancer, you're with the double Cancerian influence in your chart, like being on water is so important. Oh my God, this is gorgeous.
No.
So, so that's a very important spot. You've got a target here over India, Eastern India. A whole lot of stuff going on in. Um, it looks like kind of this this is very funny. Okay, so I started off talking about how you have this ancient creator goddess energy, which on a map, we know that like the Horn of Africa and then like the sea north of the Horn of Africa and Ethiopia is like basically where a lot of that comes from. And you have three targets like right here. So even
Hmm.
like in your map, it's huge. No, that's not what I want. So like Yemen, this whole area really, Yemen, Somalia, and Ethiopia. So the Fertile Crescent is a huge part of your map here. So we have these three
Okay.
lines. Two are converged with each other. The other is separate. The two that are converged that are right here on like Somalia, right here on the sea, are Mercury and the Moon. So
Hmm.
very, very mystical, very magical, excellent for like any kind of intuitive communication, receiving messages, that would be a really good place for you to go. You have something in Libya as well. The higher self, you have the line for the higher self, and the vitality goes right through the center of Africa. This orange line here, and goes all the way up through Europe. So you got a lot of places you can go there. That's no lack of travel for sure.
Lovely.
Yeah, I don't usually see this many. You have a lot of really good like travel destinations in your map. Like a lot of times it's just like this random middle of the desert place, you know.
Yes. So how does that fit into having a home?
A home base. Is that something you're after?
Hmm. I always feel like that's what I want.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
Uh, let's see. Hold on a second.
Okay, no problem.
Hi, Moira. I'll call you back. Can I call you back? Okay, I'll do that. Bye-bye. Okay.
All right, cool. So home wise, let's look and see. First of all, anyone who's very Cancerian is always needs a home. But I will say, you know, like the archetype of the crab, he carries his home around with him. So home is really where you are. There might not ever be a home base physical location because you are home for yourself. Going home to be with the women who you value in your family, that's really home for you. And so if you have another place that you live and then you make that your home, that'll be just the lanyap, if you will, like the little extra something. And it will be nice and not out of the realm of possibilities. You have definitely a lot of rooted creative energy. So being somewhere would be very good for your creative energies and your focus on things like that. Let me look and see these lines real quick. Juno, Neptune, I see. So have you considered Brazil? That feels so.
No.
Well, this area here, like northern Brazil, and then as far over as like I think Belize is over here somewhere. So maybe kind of that little area, like northern South America. That would be maybe a very good place. You have this purple line here is very conducive to a home base for you.
Okay.
But again, you are your own home. Everywhere you go is home. And you've got a line, pretty good line going through Atlanta. You have connections in Atlanta?
Not at the moment. My sister lived there for a time, but she doesn't there. She isn't there anymore.
Okay.
And I don't. Some offshoots of my family I know have lived there. I don't know if they still are there.
What about Chicago and also Minneapolis?
Chicago. Don't know any. Well, I want to say I don't know anyone there, but I take that back. I met someone last summer from there who lives there, and I've met people at various times who've come from that area or who passed through that area.
I would say it's definitely not. These cities are not places where you would have a home, but it is definitely places where you could go and be at home for a while. You know. And then Minneapolis. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know anything about Minneapolis, although I did look at it recently because recently as in the past year because I was finding out that there were so many things happening there, and from a writerly perspective, or creative arts perspective. Yeah.
Oh, there's I think that one of the big consciousness revolutions that's going on currently is coming out of there. So,
Hmm.
um, so maybe going to these places, just to spend time and be creative. I feel like it's very important for you to be in places where you can be in a routine that you feel comfortable with, but then also have access to nature, but have access to a very powerful and almost a dramatic sense of creative culture. You really,
Yes.
really need to be around very, I don't want to say, let me see if I can use the word radical. Hold on. Where's your radical? Where's your radical? Oh, yeah, radical. Definitely. Here it is. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. You're so weird. You need to let it out, girl. We got to let that weird shine. You have your moon, Mercury, and Uranus all conjunct like together. That's like, and it's so small because you have so much stuff here I didn't even see till just now. But you need to be where there's like a lot of radical things happening that you can write about and be around and contribute to. You need to be involved with things like this.
Hmm.
Very dramatic too. Any like of the, because I know like the Black Lives Movement is huge up there. They are doing like the most amazing work and they're so good at it. Like it makes me so tickled. But I have a couple of friends up there who are visual artists and are just telling me about, you know, how everything is shifting, and that's always been a very conscious place. You know, there's a lot of co-ops and people eat really well and they're very healthy, and um so that's great. So, do you tend to only share your strange side with people that you're close to in a home environment?
Pretty much.
It's okay to show strangers too, because think about the lasting impression that you'll make on other people if you really let that light shine. You know, they might remember you forever because you showed them how to be themselves. And that's really one of your gifts is you're so good at being who you are that other people really struggle with that. I actually, the reading I had earlier, that was her main issue, was not trusting herself and trusting that um you know, she can be who she is. And so you can help really show people how to do that by just being your natural, like weird, quirky, communicative self. Do you get online a lot? Do you like devour the internet or?
I do not.
Okay.
I do like to have time, quiet time, and I do a lot of journal. I say a lot of journal. I do reading, and quiet is good for me. So I don't do a lot of on the internet. Although I am trying to create a blog
Mm-hmm.
for the internet. So
You have some internet presence, kind of like a supportive influence for being an internet presence. So that's good. I would definitely keep working on making a blog so that you can put your work out there and it will be very inspirational to people. But I would definitely like what you're already doing, making it your own. I definitely like uh, being on Facebook and things like that would be very annoying for you. This is like with so much second house, you're so like intolerant of like bullshit, and then that it's so much bullshit online. So that's great. I think you should be online more than maybe where you are now, but just take
okay,
time and make it yours and have your own space online. That's really maybe even the home that you've been kind of looking for. Maybe you need to have a little spot online where you can share your work, and that will be influential. And then maybe bring you some financial success as well, because you do have a lot of this kind of, if you are dramatic and weird and communicate your dramatic, weird intuition and writing to people and just really share who you are, then there's definitely like a very fortuitous like fortune out there that you can draw in. So, um, but it has been hard to find. You have at the top of your chart, you have the actual asteroid for fortune, but it's actually in the void of, excuse me, of Aries and Pisces, which is basically where in the entire 360 degrees of the zodiac wheel, that exact point is where things will get lost. And it's very hard to find them. It's like looking in the dark. So what you'll have to do instead of going directly for that, and it is in the ninth house for you, which is about writing and teaching and expanding. Have you considered teaching at all?
I have taught, and I've recently, for the past year, I've been doing adjunct teaching at the college level at and hmm, well, not an alternative, teaching older adults. And so I've been teaching education courses and becoming teachers. And then as I was a former teacher, I share my experiences with them, and we talk about those things.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, good. I will definitely say that's like one of your gifts is teaching. And mostly, I mean, it looks like mostly just because you've always done it. It's like one of those things. It's just part of who you are, so you just do it because it's just who you are. Um, but then really, I mean, I just can't get over how much stuff you have in your second house. I think it's like I usually will just see like a couple of planets. Like you're just too much. I just love it. And you have the Harmony asteroid is going through all of this right now. So this is a really good time for you to just kind of, when you're in your quiet, which I'm so about the quiet too, so I respect that. When you're in your quiet space and generating kind of like you were saying in the beginning, these kind of visions that you have for your future, you can kind of add in things that you want to if you want to travel, see yourself in certain places. I like to get online and look at pictures of the places and then put myself there, you know? And I think the law of attraction is a huge thing for you. I'm sure you're already implementing that to some outstanding degree, but I would definitely focus on that and keep that up. Let's see what else. The planet Jupiter turned direct a couple days ago, finally, which is great because that's been drudgerous pain in the ass for the last year. And it actually is conjunct the asteroid Karma in your chart. So for you, a lot of the, how do I say this? People who owe you stuff from past lives are going to be coming up from the last couple of months through the next rest of the year. Basically, this year is whenever people are going to come in who you have known for a very long time to work with you, to help guide you, and then also to, in a lot of ways, I don't want to say like pay you back or repay you for things you've done for them, but that is part of it. But that is how karma works. You know, I see a lot of times someone in a past life helped someone or saved them from death, and then in this life they come back and that person helps them through a very crippling depression or something. You know, like we always go back to help the people that we have been helped by because we have to in order to keep balance. And so this year, in general, for everyone, this year is all about this polarity of Virgo Pisces and healing and expansion and kind of cutting the dead branches and letting go of things that don't serve us, which is obviously we say that all the time, but that's really a heavy theme this year. And you have your karma asteroid kind of right in the center of that. And then at the tail end of it, your fortune asteroid. So it looks like you will be coming into some money sometime either at the very end of this year, like very end of this year, or early next year. And it will enable you to travel. So I would definitely keep an eye out for that.
I can't bank on it though, but I can keep an eye out for it.
Well, if you believe it'll happen, it'll come, you know.
Okay.
So I would count on it. The fortune asteroid is always pretty reliable. And it might not be, you know, $10,000, but it'll be nice. Chunk of change, that's for sure. I keep just like having this, like I need to just say like expanding your teaching. Like, what is your interests that you're so knowledgeable in that you're not teaching about?
The interest that I'm so knowledgeable in, writing, poetry. I'm not teaching in those areas. I'd like to. Um, hmm, hmm. I don't know exactly.
What about natural studies? What kind of natural things are you into? Like herbs or medicines, plant work, healing energy work, like anything like that?
I Haven't really done very much of those. I've been interested in plants and aromatherapies and
Okay.
those kinds of things.
Aromatherapy then would be it because I keep seeing like flowers and green plants with a lot of vitality. Um,
Hmm.
so something like that would be uh, very fruitful as well. And then also, teaching about poetry and creative writing also would count in that topic. So let me look up for you your um, ascending and sun because they're all together.
Okay.
Now I'm just gonna like bring this up on the screen and you can read it. This kind of reads like, oh, that's too big. Hold on. It reads like a tarot card would. So basically, like it's gonna have the the kind of theme or code visual, and then the description that goes along with that. And so for you, your ascendant is 14, and then your sun is at 15. So it's going to be these two. Can you see them? Okay.
Yeah. I can't read them, but I can see them.
Okay. Let me make it bigger then. I lost it. Gotta love it whenever you expand things. Okay, how's that? Is that better?
Okay. You said 14 and 15.
They should be. I highlighted them in blue, so it should be easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Into the cave of navigation realization no one given yet as well required commanded to become entirely purposeful and to be and to cease all complaining and extraneous consciousness. Okay. Whew. Good gracious.
I know it's a lot, right?
Hmm.
So that's why I record reading. So this is something. This particular point system is called a Chandra. I always say it. Hold on. Chandra symbols, and it's linked to ancient Sanskrit, very ancient type of points. Basically, every point has a description, and they were just written by people who were just very intuitive, based on these old art manuscripts. So these are really meant to be used as like the visual, like I said, is like you see yourself there, you see it, and then you read the other, and it's almost like a meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are things where I will still go back and read my own, and like I always find something new in it, and a lot of times, you end up crying and things like that. So that's definitely part of it. And then I will look up also hold on, your when I keep talking about your north and south node, we'll look those up too. So this is going to be the south with the MC. So Aries 8, 7, and 8. Okay, so these two. This is going to be your highest self is going to be Aries 8, and then Aries 7 is where you're coming from past life wise.
Okay.
And again, you don't have to read this all right now, but it will be on the recording for you to, you'll be able to go back and see it.
Okay.
Yeah, because it is a lot. I usually, I will only bring up this many if it's like online, because you can go back and kind of revisit this over the next couple of months. It's not really something where you could read all of this and absorb it all now. I would think that's almost impossible. So I just want to have it on the screen long enough to where you could go back and reread it. And then we'll go ahead and look up the opposing locations too. So Libra, okay. Okay, so then this one is going to be your future self is 7, and then your like root energy is number 8. So we'll just like leave this here for a second so you can go back and read it.
7 is the root.
Is the root.
Say 7.
The
Root,
7.
okay.
7 is your I'm sorry, 7 is your future self. And then the root chakra is the 8. So
Okay.
the 8 will be that's where we draw up energy from. And it represents our root chakra, but then also represents like kind of like our, like I like to say like our primordial kind of vitality, you know. And then Libra 7 is your future energy, your future life, your spiritual path is would be a good way to describe it. The path of your soul, if you will. And so we'll just leave this for a couple minutes, and then you can go back and check it. So,
Okay.
is there anything else that we have, 10 or 15 minutes left? If there's anything, if you have any specific questions or anything else we could look at on a map, I can bring up, dates in the future, other people's charts, anything like that.
Dates in the future. I don't have any. I'm trying to figure out my present and my future. Let's say right now the only person, let's say I have 2 siblings, one my sister and my brother. My brother whom I don't have any relations with, and my sister who I do, and it's been a kind of turbulent at times. So I guess I'm wondering what you can tell me about either of those.
Okay. Do you know their birthdays?
Yes, my sister is April 17th.
Okay. And what year was she born?
61. Actually, 62. 62.
And you said April 17th, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. It is very possible that, hold on, I got too many tabs. Interesting. So, don't have any conjunctions with her sun or her moon in your, well, you do actually, her moon would be likely conjunct Eros in your chart, which is actually really, it's the female version of Mars. And so it can bring, like a warrior spirit empowerment through communication because it's in communication house for you, and healing and working together kind of thing. But then also on the shadow side or in a static state, it could definitely be like arguments, fighting, power struggles, kind of like things that are saying things that are just not nice. But overall, I would say Eros is a big, and then Eros is also has a lot to do with like love in our life. So definitely there's like a love bond with y'all. And maybe every now and then you say things and then feel bad about it, but definitely there's a love bond there. And so y'all are definitely close, and that's very good for you, especially for your heart chakra. And your heart is huge too, because all the stuff in your second house is in Leo, and Leo is actually the rules the heart chakra. So that's a huge thing for you.
Okay.
And then your brother's birthday, what is it?
December 21st.
Okay. And what year?
56.
That's a very intense birthday. I'll go ahead and say that.
Wait a minute. That said December. Does that make him Sagittarius? Because I want to.
Yeah, December 21st is actually the cusp of Sagittarius and Capricorn.
Okay.
Yeah. So look, on the 1956, it was the last day of Capricorn. So that's why I say it's an intense cusp, because Capricorn seeks to have knowledge and structure and can be very rigid and withholding. But Sagittarius seeks for freedom, but then when they're unhappy with something that Saturn might do to them, they'll run away. So that's what I was saying earlier. There's like this influence of being patient before you can expand. And actually he carries a lot of that energy with him. If he is just like, it's very possible someone with this birthday could have like spiritually stifling energy if they were not in a progressive or dynamic state. And then he has a Leo moon. So let's see, definitely got some interactions in with you. Do you think he was born in the morning or like in the afternoon? Any idea?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, he has the moon at midnight on the day he was born was actually the same as your moon. So it is very possible that y'all's moons are conjunct. And then also your natal Uranus placement, and even all the way through possibly like your champion asteroid and Mars placement would be conjunct his moon. So I would say that like having Uranus conjunct someone's moon would definitely make someone's emotions feel very out of balance, and it can be very disharmonious if there's not like a level of weirdness or fun associated with it. But definitely having a moon conjunction with someone too means that you can be very insightful with them and very like intuitive and know how they feel. But sometimes people like that, sometimes people don't. Sometimes you don't want people knowing how you feel, and they do, or they'll misconstrue it because they think it's them. So when we talk about people are our mirrors, usually that's our moon sign interacting with their moon sign. And so when someone has your moon sign, especially as close as y'all's moons most likely are, almost conjunct most likely, then that can cause, I guess, people to butt heads maybe, or it can also cause just like, what's a good word I'm looking for? An unsettling energy. if they're unwilling to, or if anyone's unwilling to kind of address their personal issues, it can be very unsettling. And so, um, and then the December 21st birthday is actually conjunct your natal Saturn. So you'll actually have a lot of conjunctions just knowing his sun and moon sign. His sun is conjunct your Saturn. Was he maybe like authoritative or dogmatic to you or anything like that?
Authoritative, dogmatic. Yes, that would work.
Very, like, I would say very suppressive and then also very draining.
Yes.
Yeah. And then if that is coming up for you now, it's because your second Saturn return is coming. And so because his sun, it was conjunct your Saturn, your physical body remembers that. And so that's something that you'll have to either be healing, if you're not already healed from it, working through, but it'll definitely be something on your mind. And whatever that means to you, whatever it is that maybe needs to be addressed or thought through, or anything left over, if you will be on your mind because of your Saturn coming back around. And actually Saturn, it looks like, is right on the cusp of your 5th and 6th house. So it'll be affecting, even if it's interrupting your quiet time when you're trying to write and you're thinking about it, or if you're feeling this stifled, restricted energy. And it's a lot of times it can be it feels totally different because it's a different situation, older and move past things. But whenever you feel restricted, whoever restricted you in the past, their energy, you'll remember that too. So I'll definitely say that's going to be around for a little while. And so it's good, again, when I was saying to remember, especially like the 28 to like 32-year-old window of you.
Mm-hmm.
What was on then, if he was around then, things like that, that's definitely something to pay attention to remember to go back through with a fine-tooth comb. But I would be very careful, though, that you don't allow the memory of him being stifling, dogmatic, restrictive, withholding, shitty to you. Don't let that influence your creative vitality now or your health, because it is in a placement where it could definitely influence your health, just like the sorrow, or if there's any grief or sorrow or anything like that. But then I would say it would be mostly it would just be draining for you to kind of, if you're going to put yourself in a position to relive it, instead of using your head to maybe be more analytical about it, it could affect your creative vitality and all of those things. So I'm just saying, I guess, be tender.
Cautious.
Yeah, be tender with yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but a lot there. If you ever find out his birth info, I'm happy to put those charts together, because a lot of times that's very helpful in figuring out like what went wrong, what happened, what's the lesson, all of those things.
Yes. So here's my question then, because the person who put my chart together, she didn't exactly know when it was that I was born, and I didn't have that information. I still don't, unless it's on my birth certificate, which I don't have access to at the moment. So she put this chart together, and I guess part of my question after I shared it with Lakeisha was, is this really accurate?
Well, I usually, if I don't know that birth time is exact, I'll use a pendulum and figure it out. But just like looking at your chart, I do feel like this is fairly accurate. I did not feel, I will be honest, I did expect to see a lot of stuff in your 12th house. So it maybe is that it's just like rotated around, but I definitely get this like, it's interesting. Actually, I'm seeing what she did here now. She just set your ascendant to your sun. So that is kind of a default for astrologers. So it is still very accurate, although it might not be the actual house system. So what I can do is I will later get my little pendulum board out, and I will get a time, and then I'll re-enter it back in your chart and see, because I'm now realizing that she did your ascendant and your sun together as a default. So that might not be accurate. And then I just expected to see a lot more 12th house stuff in your chart, because I feel like as a poet, that's like where poets draw from. So I'm thinking maybe now, if your ascendant is Virgo or even Leo, then you have a lot of this creative stuff that's in your second house, maybe would be in your 12th house. So we'll see. But that doesn't change like the overall information at all.
Okay.
Yeah. It's still, and honestly, like I usually hear and see things to communicate, and I use a chart as a guide, but I don't use it as like, this isn't really like a book knowledge relay kind of thing that I do. It's more, intuitive. So that's sure. But I'm happy to look and dig up your time. I'm usually pretty much within 5 minutes.
Really? Okay.
And I do have clients who will find their birth certificate years later uh, and it is accurate or it's a few minutes off or something. But a lot of my clients lost their birth certificate in the storm, so I don't always have a time.
Hmm.
So, but I don't know. This has been good. I hope that you've enjoyed it and that it's been helpful.
It is. It is helpful. It's given me a lot to think about.
That's
Um,
this is why I record it now. I used to have I would do this on in person especially, and then they would call me or email me a week later or 2 weeks later, finish processing a month later what we talked about, and they're like, I don't remember a lot. Can you do it again? And I'm like, no, let me record it for you. So so
yeah.
I love that. And so what I'll do if you want, whenever this is over and I hit end on the record, it's going to convert the file. I am happy to email you a link to Dropbox to download it. Or what I prefer to do now is I have a private YouTube channel that's unsearchable, and I will send you a link. I'll upload your reading as a private link and then just send you that link. And that link will expire in like 3 or 4 weeks. And then if you want another one, I'll send you another one. So
Okay.
yeah, that's what I usually do. It's a lot easier for people, I think, to get on YouTube than and have your own like little private link. So I think
That's fine.
okay, cool. All right, well I'll do that and I'll send you the link by email. Is that what you prefer?
Yes, please.
Okay, great.
Because I'm not on Facebook all that often.
I know. Well, I can see that now in your chart. Nonsense, no bullshit. And I gotta say, basically it's like I have to get on Facebook for my job, but when I get on and I look at the trending headlines every day, like I'm afraid for humanity. Like it's ridiculous. Nonsense. But anyways, but I thank you so much for letting me read for you and just let me know if you have any questions and I'll get this link over to you in about an hour.
Okay, look, thank you very much, Christy.
Thank you so much, Claudette. This has been great.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.